Welcome to the Substitute for War video blog number 5. In this blog, I'll be continuing a segment I call Where Do They Go From Here? It's where I'll look at teams that just got eliminated from the playoffs, and I'll talk about their future this summer, how they should feel about their team. I'm going to do the second round teams that got eliminated, that are the LA Lakers, LA Clippers, Indiana Pacers, and Philadelphia 76ers in this blog. I'll start with the Lakers. They lost in 5 games to the Thunder, and the problem with them is pretty obvious. They're just a bit too slow between Kobe, Gasol, and Bynum, a bit too slow in plotting, and they just don't have enough depth and really young energy to keep up with the Thunder. And the thing is that the Thunder are going to be the team to beat in the West the next few years for sure, so LA has to really game plan to beat them, so yeah, the really obvious move and the one everyone's been pointing out is trading Gasol. He hasn't been the same guy mentally for a year and a half. It would clear up their cap because him, Kobe, and Bynum were all on max contracts. And Kobe's really on more like a super max contract, like 1.5. And it just doesn't fit Gasol and Bynum quite as well as some of the previous Laker teams. So the obvious move is to Houston because they already got him. And it really just lines up perfectly for the Lakers if I'm looking at it because Kyle Lowry and Louis Scola, that's really kind of the perfect fit for a trade. Maybe they could get a draft pick in there as well. Lowry, it looks like, is on his way out in Houston because Goran Dragic, they have 2 point guards, Goran Dragic and Kyle Lowry. And I'm kind of betting on them re-signing Dragic, in my opinion. So maybe you do that. And then they have then they try to sign some young talent. I think that's the way to go. Be a deeper team, one that can keep up energy-wise. I like the Ramon Sessions and Jordan Hill trades for them. They just need about 3 or 4 more guys of that ilk, and then maybe they can recharge like the Spurs did this year. One concern for them is that I really feel like even though Kobe's only in his mid-30s, he almost has the minutes of like a 38, 39-year-old right now. Basically, because he's played so many playoff games because he came out of high school. So he's played 50,000 minutes. So the concern is that he could just drop off really heavily, especially with his bad knees. So the Lakers window could close just because of Kobe having his game disappear. The other thing is that they're probably going to be in play for the Dwight Howard thing. If they offered Bynum for Howard, I think Orlando would be interested. But there's a couple reasons I could see LA not doing that. One is that they seem like they're pretty invested in Bynum. Sometimes with these franchises, they almost have like a loyalty thing going for them, where they the idea of like having like a homegrown player like Bynum, I think, appeals to a franchise like the Lakers. And the other thing is that Dwight Howard has to actually want to play for the Lakers, and that's the thing that I think has been missed but when some people suggest that trade, because it's not a great situation for Howard because he'd be going to a very old situation with Bryant and Gasol. And there's rumors about him not wanting to follow what Shaq did going from Orlando to LA. I just think Howard, he really wants to go to New Jersey to play with Darren Williams, and that's just kind of his central thing. That's just my guess of what the plan has been. Okay, my second team I'm going to talk about are the LA Clippers. The LA Clippers already made some news by keeping Vinny Del Negro, which surprised everyone, and they lost their GM Neil Olshey. So both these moves are not indicative of a franchise at the top of their game, in my opinion. But I just can't say, with Olshey, I can't say behind the scenes how much he was involved, how much they need him. But maybe that opens up the door for, in my opinion, what would be the best move for them is if they could get like a top-notch GM who Donald Sterling just hands the team over to decision-wise. Maybe even poach a guy from like Oklahoma City or San Antonio, and who wants to be Sam Presti too. And just get a guy who's really smart like that and make it like a real franchise. But as for the coach, what I was expecting is for Well, what got me kind of excited was the idea of either Phil Jackson or Jerry Sloan taking the Clippers job, but it really just depends if those guys are actually available or if it was just rumors. Maybe neither of those guys wanted to play for a Donald Sterling owned team. Who knows? But that would have been a huge win for the Clippers to get one of those two guys. Both of them would just been great fits. Phil could have done some triangle stuff with Blake Griffin's passing, and for Jerry Sloan it would have been really really been like a John Stockton, Karl Malone type of combo with Chris Paul and Blake Griffin. But anyways, in terms of actual moves this summer, they really need a swingman who can provide more offensively. It would be hard for them to get that. They would have to package Eric Bledsoe with like Caron Butler. I think that's the move to try and see if there's somebody interested in Bledsoe. They need more big man help beside DeAndre Jordan. Again, I just don't know if they have the resources for that. They don't have the draft pick this year, so that hurts them. But maybe the move for the Clippers is just to not rush into anything. Play the next season out with a fairly similar roster to this one, and then see if they have more flexibility at that point than they do this season. Overall, I don't love the Clippers' ability to be a contender soon, just because I don't quite feel they have the supporting cast and assets around them right now. The next team I'll talk about are the Indiana Pacers. They went down in 6 games to the Heat after leading 2-1 in that series, and LeBron and Wade just took them out. The problem for the Pacers is pretty simple. They need a perimeter guy who can get in the paint, dribble, drive, create for shooters, run offense at the bigs. And really that point guard spot is just they're a star point guard away essentially from being a contender. Obviously Darren Williams or Steve Nash would be the dream fits. If they can't get them, Goran Dragic's a decent option. He's an unrestricted free agent. Maybe they could be in on the Jeremy Lin backloaded offer. And the guy for them might actually be Jameer Nelson, who it would remind me a lot of the David West signing, in that he's not a spectacular player, but he's a really good one. He used to be an all-star, brings some experience and some savvy to that position. So you put him with that Pacers team, which is already pretty good. And I think they could be even more competitive next year with a team like the Heat. And I think the East is going to be not that competitive. I think the Pacers could get the 2 seed if they get a guy like Nelson or Dragic, because Boston's not the type of team that wins in the regular season enough anymore to get the 2 seed, and I don't think Chicago's going to be that dangerous, so that would give Indiana a good chance to make the conference finals. And I feel like the Heat, who knows how long the run is actually going to last. Wade could go decline or be injured one of these years, and mentally, if they do lose to the Celtics, as I'm saying this, Boston beat them to go up 3-2 last year. I think that would be a hard thing to come back from, just in terms of mental fatigue and the idea of losing, being upset like that after the Dallas series. So Indiana just has to bide their time and see if they can sneak in one of these years to the finals. And Indiana's a draft pick this year too, so that'll be an interesting pick. Okay, the next team I'll talk about, the Philadelphia 76ers. They went down in 7 games to Boston. They're a great defensive team, but they just don't have the offense to take the next step. They need more shooting, and they need more big man post play. And they have a little bit too much perimeter, dribble drive kind of stuff. And so the obvious fit for them is just to trade 1 or 2 of those perimeter guys. Maybe Iguodala, maybe Lou Williams, maybe Drew Holiday even. One of those guys. But Iguodala seems like the obvious one. The trade that stands out to me as just a really good trade for Philadelphia and the other team is if they trade Iguodala to Golden State for the 7th pick. And I believe Richard Jefferson and his contract would have to go back to Philadelphia as well. But then Philadelphia would have the 7th and 16th picks, which they could kind of reload their roster with, and then they could give Turner the full-time shooting guard spot, now that he doesn't have to worry about fitting with Iguodala. Maybe he could have a breakout season next year. So that just seems like a really nice trade. But I get the feeling that if they're willing to trade Iguodala for a lottery pick and a lighter cap hit, at least one of those teams are going to be interested. One of those teams that thinks they're an established piece away from being a playoff team. Like someone like a Toronto, Detroit, Milwaukee, I don't know, something like that. There's a lot of teams in the late lottery that haven't been too shy about spending money, so I don't think Iguodala's contract will scare them away that much. Elton Brand is an expiring contract, so that'll give them flexibility, but they can also shop that around. Philadelphia actually could be a team in the Pau Gasol sweepstakes, if you call it that, because I really like the idea of him fitting the weaknesses as a post player. So if they package together like Drew Holiday and Elton Brand's expiring contract and a draft pick this year, maybe that'll be a competitive offer. Maybe Lou Williams is thrown into there, or it could even be like an Iguodala Pau Gasol swap. Maybe Iguodala and LA would be an interesting fit because he'd basically be the guy they throw on Durant next season, and he'd give them some young legs to battle the Thunder a little bit. But anyways, that's Philadelphia. I think they definitely need to do some work. They definitely need to make smart decisions from here on if they want to take the next step. And a lot of it depends on if Evan Turner can really break out next season. But I don't quite like their future quite as much as Indiana's, just because I feel like roster-wise they're missing young big men to take them to the next step, and they just have a weird kind of ill-fitting roster with a lot of perimeter players. Anyways, that's my where do they go from here segment. I'll have some more videos up soon. I'll have a shooting guards in this draft video up, and I'm doing a Harrison Barnes draft scouting report, video scouting report. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.